Eli5 If a car speedometer is inaccurate, is the odometer also inaccurate? If your speedometer is off because your wheels don't have exactly the air pressure they're supposed to have, or similar, then your odometer will also be off. However, your speedometer measures revolutions over time. So for a speedometer the time measurements can also be off. And for older cars that don't use a digital speedometer, the whole mechanism is by nature less accurate than the odometer. All speedometers are inaccurate. So, in order not to be sued, company always overestimate speed by 3%. So if you see 100 km per hour, it's really 97 km per hour. Check with your phone GPS app. The risk of getting a ticket is lower and companies don't risk to be sued because the speedometer lied to you. And in the meantime, they save 3% on warranty because when your car just go over the guarantee's mileage, let's say at 100,000 kilometers, in reality your car only has 97,000 kilometers and is still under warranty. BMW technician here. Assuming the car has the correct size wheels and tires, the car knows how fast it's really going. It uses this value for the odometer. The speedometer is intentionally lying to you. So the speedo will be slightly optimistic, and the odometer will be accurate. Well, traditionally speedometer needles were magnetically coupled to the spinning speedo cable while the odometer was directly driven. So if the speedo return spring was too strong or too weak, it would register inaccurately, independent of the odometer course. That was years ago. Now they've probably got metric lasers in there. Lots of modern cars in the UK deliberately misreport the speed, telling you are going faster than you are, by about 2 miles per hour. This is due to a law that makes an offence to report the speed is slower than you are actually going. And since the speedometer can't be guaranteed to be 100% accurate, this is a trick to prevent them illegally reporting the wrong speed. I am wondering what the test standard is. There must be laws saying what the accuracy must be for a company to say what the numbers are. Plus or minus 5% is probably the best to hope for. With newer cars post-2000 the mileage may be off. Some old-style cars had separated odometer and speedometer cable system to different parts to click speed and distance. In modern cars, it's not that speedometers are inaccurate. It's that they are designed to read high. The actual input, nowadays from the ABS sensor, is adjusted to read high. The true distance is recorded by the AQ and displayed on the odometer. On older cars, however, things could indeed be out by a margin. Yes, the odometer and speedometer use wheel revolutions and other type of speed sensors to log mph and miles driven. If one is inaccurate, the other is also typically going to be inaccurate. They deliberately make it off, I heard, so people don't easily break speed limits. My understanding is it's just a display lie and that the rest of the car fully knows what the real speed is. https www.theglobe-and-mail.com/amp/globe-drive/culture/commuting/y-u-may-not-be-fast-is-yo. You think? Article 11,487,709. My mom's Pontiac Sunbird had a glitchy speedometer. Sometimes it would make a clicky noise and go below the zero. When this happened, the odometer would start running backwards. If you stopped completely, it would fix itself. My dad jokes about inching up to red lights so the car would appreciate in value. Joke's on him though. I broke a telephone pole in half with that car. So yeah. In older cars there is definitely a solid correlation between speedometer accuracy and odometer accuracy. The Ford Ranger I have, 2012 PX. The speedo is off by around 8%. It reads 108 km per hour when I'm actually doing 100. But when OBD scanning the car when I'm on the highway, the car's AQ actually reads the correct speed. I suspect this is a safety warranty feature. Ford can't have anyone sue them for speeding if they look at the needle from an odd angle. And if you're driving slower than you need to, you will wear the car out less. An odometer works by counting how many times the wheels of the car have rotated and multiplying it by the circumference of the wheels. It's not related to the speedometer. That said, the calculation of the odometer won't be correct if you change your tires for a different size. Many car manufacturers overestimate the speed displayed in order to reduce liability. The idea being to not have cars saying you are going the speed limit when you are actually exceeding it. Your speedometer is not off. It's purposely showing you a few percent points more on your speed for obvious reasons. They want to err on the side of safety when the traffic signs tell you a max speed. The error due to measurement inaccuracy is smaller than that. If you have an ODB reader, on-board diagnostic, you can see all the car's information. The speed on the cars I have tested is actually showing correct when matched with GPS. The car knows how fast it's going. The car makers deliberately show slightly lower on the speedo so you can't blame them for your speeding fine. My 2000 Honda Civic speed sensor has been busted for years. So occasionally my speedometer gets stuck at 23 miles per hour-ish. And when that happens, my odometer doesn't move either. I assume this would mean they are pretty much in sync. Greater than I understand that modern cars have a sensor that measures the speed of the rotation of the tires and uses that to put out your speed on your speedometer. This is how older cars work too. Except it's probably some kind of mechanical linkage to the transmission and not a digital sensor. All the speed measurements are being driven, no pun intended, by the rotation of the tires and/or transmission. I take it as the speedometer and odometer are both inaccurate, as it works with rotation of wheels, and their size might vary. And there's no laser device that would track real kilometers. My friend asked in the garage if the car computer shouldn't be set when he changes wheels for bigger or smaller ones. But they told him it's unnecessary. Nobody cares about that, as long as that wheel size is in the technical license. Odometer doesn't say much about the technical state of the car anyway. I would also assume that as your tires wear down, the speedometer will also become more inaccurate. I had a motorcycle where the speedometer cable was damaged, so the odometer didn't register anything. Yes. If your speedometer is inaccurate, then so is your odometer. Yes. I have a module in my truck that pulls data directly from the ODB2 lines that accurately reports my speed despite the speedometer's built-in addition of 2 miles per hour. Your vehicle's onboard computer knows exactly how fast and how far it is traveling. It's just the manufacturer decided to lie to you for the sake of your safety. Long story short, yeah, your odometer is accurate and is legally required to be so. Almost every speedometer ever made simply counts tire rotation. And the odometer matches the reading. Unless the speedometer is intentionally inaccurate. My GPS always says I'm going 2 to 5 miles per hour slower than the reading in just about every vehicle I'm in. But I don't know which to trust. Cars before anti-lock brakes or traction control counted their revolutions inside the transmission. Newer ones use the sensors in the wheel. The odometer is generally tied to the speedometer. So the short answer is yes. An example which illustrates this well is that I once knew a guy who installed a homemade switch in his dashboard so that, when he was in cruise control on the freeway, he could switch off his speedometer, which would cause the odometer to stop increasing. On modern cars, electronic speedometers are deliberately inaccurate so they won't ever read lower than actual speed. But the odometer is left alone so it's more accurate. One of the primary sources of reading error on a speedometer is parallax error, which is down to the angle at which you view the needle. This doesn't affect odometers. The other source of error is in the drivetrain for the odometer. They use smaller gears than the rest of the transmission and prone to greater error with wear. In that regards, you can expect similar errors to creep in over time. Yes, I had a recall on my car because the speedometer was showing 5 miles per hour more than the actual speed. After they did the update for my car, the odometer updated to around 2,000 miles less than previously shown. Yes. In fact, Honda got in trouble for this because theirs were 9 to 11% off, helping to lead to beliefs that they still ran well after putting a ton of miles on them. That was a long time ago. But for the most part they're not off by much anymore. As long as your car still runs, who cares if your odo is off by 1 or 2%? I mean, it affects the resale value somewhat, but it all evens out at the end between buyers and sellers. BMW has a modifiable code for fudging the speeds. I disabled the intentional fluff and it was around 7%. The odometer does not use the displayed speed to count miles. Several decades ago my dad was pulled over for speeding. My dad swore he was going the speed limit. To make a long story short, he had had different tires put on. Maybe snow tires were taken off or put on, and they were slightly larger diameter. The speedometer calculated speed by tire rotations and the tire guys hadn't adjusted the speedometer for the slight wider diameter. My dad didn't get a ticket. Every measurement has uncertainty. Everything you measure is likely a little bit wrong. So yes. Note that changing wheel will requires recalibration. Increasing wheel size causes lower readings and decreasing causes higher readings. My physics teacher told me it measures angular velocity. If you change your tires, recalibrate! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Yes. When the speedometer on my car decides it doesn't want to work, the odometer doesn't increase either. Source: 1995 Plymouth Neon. In my older BMW you can code out the speedo overestimate. It's just a checkbox in the software. Manufacturers have the ability to be pretty spot on, but they don't, like many of the comments have explained. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe for more content.